Ito ang Broad Streamcast Communicators, ang naiba at kakaibang plataforma sa digital broadcast. Mula Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao hanggang sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Broad Streamcast Communicators, ang sandigan ng sambayanan mula sa walang labis at walang kulang na pagbabalita, paglilingkod, maglalahad ng mga mapagbuong komentaryo at usaping pambayan para sa kapakanan ng karamihan. Broad Streamcast Communicators, tuwirang maglilingkod ngayon hanggang sa susunod na henerasyon. Buhay Online, chikahan at kalamang pangkabuhayan. Ating tunghayan, pakinggan at tuklasin ang mga pangyayari at kaganapan sa mundo ng online. Buhay Online, chikahan at kalamang pangkabuhayan. Alamin ang pinaka-latest trends mula sa trabaho at kung hanggang saan na ang narating ng teknolohiyang ito. At ngayon, narito na ang ating host, ang ating Techie Mami, si Jaye C. Bautista.
Hello everyone! Happy Wednesday po! Welcome to Buhay Online with yours truly, Jaye Bautista, on a Wednesday. Hello, I see some hearts flying pero walang pangalan. Whoever that is, hello. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today here on a Wednesday. I can see hearts flying but no names. But anyway, first of all, before anything else, I'd like to do some birthday greetings. Okay, birthday greetings are in order. Happy birthday to Toots del Pilar Alino, my schoolmate from elementary and college. Okay, and also happy birthday to Bana Madela, Bana, and also belated happy birthday to Ian Christopher Lim. Alright, so yun ang mga birthday greetings ko today. And of course, on a Wednesday, it's a nice sunny Wednesday, pero a little bit hot today. Paiba-iba talaga yung ating weather. You know, for the past week, we've been having pretty chilly weather, actually 29, 28 degrees here in Pampanga, which is pretty cool, okay, considering we're in the Philippines. Malamig na yun, no, for Manila. Actually, well, Pampanga, I don't know what the weather is in Manila, but dito sa Pampanga, almost para mga Tagaytayish weather we've been having, but today is a little hot. I can feel the heat coming from the window, all right? Anyway, speaking of course, a lot of people are still enjoying yung pagka-alert level 3 ng NCR. And of course, a lot of people have been traveling. Hi there, Angelica. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, Angelica. Thank you for your support all the time, and thank you for always staying with us, okay? Anyway, so I was saying na people are still enjoying yung pagkababa ng kanilang ng restrictions in Metro Manila and NCR. But the thing about this, of course, there's issues about places in Manila like the Dolomite Beach na yan. You know, if you saw in the news how so many people are going there and parang wala ng virus, diba? Dikit-dikit ang tao, dapat siguro isara yun or ipagbawal. Because the cemeteries are going to be closed like last year, right? It's going to close at the end of this month, or 29th yata. So a lot of people are already flocking to the cemeteries to visit their loved ones and pray and put flowers before the season because sarado naman eh. And it's going to open again siguro November 3. But speaking of travel, okay, in the news, okay, yesterday, Hong Kong is going to there's news about Hong Kong travel, okay? Those who are thinking of traveling to Hong Kong. Hong Kong to further tighten COVID-19 travel restrictions, okay? So they are going to tighten their their travel restrictions, okay? Uh, Hong Kong will tighten coronavirus travel restrictions to bring it more into line with the Chinese mainland, its leader said Tuesday, as the city extended its streak of more than 2 months without a major local outbreak. The announcement came despite concerns from the international hub's business community that the city remains indefinitely cut off from the rest of the world with one of the strictest mandatory quarantine regimes of any jurisdiction. Talaga, akala ko yung Philippines na yung longest lockdown. Well, uh, ibig ko sabihin is sila rin pala may strict well, tayo naman strictan, okay? Okay? So, okay, let's see how they deal with this, okay? Most arrivals have to undergo, okay, for them, okay, these are the restrictions in Hong Kong. For them, most arrivals have to undergo 14 to 21 days of hotel quarantine. Oh my gosh. See, then it will be so expensive to go to Hong Kong. Imagine 21 days of paying for a hotel daily. My gosh, 3 days na nga, mahal na. 1 week, 2 weeks, 21 days. Oh my God. Chief Executive Carrie Lam said Hong Kong will now go even further as she tries to persuade China's leaders to restore travel with the mainland. Soon we will announce that most of the quarantine exemptions granted to specific groups of visitors, okay, coming from overseas and mainland will be canceled, okay? Lam said, adding only essential workers such as cross-border truck drivers would be allowed to make quarantine-free trips. Okay? At present, okay, Hong Kong allows certain groups of people to skip quarantine or isolate at home. They include diplomats and business leaders, as well as some mainlanders with Hong Kong resident cards. All right. Lam did not detail which categories would now be denied exemptions. Last month, okay, Hollywood star Nicole Kidman was allowed to skip quarantine to shoot a TV show, a decision that sparked much public anger. So maraming nagalit dahil siya binigyan ng preferential treatment si Nicole Kidman at inallow siyang mag-skip ng quarantine na 14 days kasi may shooting, okay? Nagalit mga tao, of course, right? Industry warning. Lam has previously described reopening to the mainland as more important than restoring Hong Kong's international travel links. Okay? So it's more important for them to reopen the mainland rather than the international travel links. On Tuesday, she made clear Beijing expects the city to mimic its own strict restrictions. We are caught in a sort of dilemma because in order to resume quarantine-free travel with the mainland, we have to ensure our anti-COVID-19 practices are more in line with the mainland practice. So if Hong Kong were to loosen border controls for people arriving from overseas or adopt what other countries have done, so-called to live with COVID-19 virus, then the chances to travel with the mainland will be reduced. Kasi mas stricter ang mga safety protocols nitong mga country na ito, like Taiwan, okay, Hong Kong. Excuse me. Hong Kong's business community has looked on with growing exasperation as rival finance hubs such as Singapore, Tokyo, London, and New York reopen. Okay? On Monday, the top lobby group for financial firms warned that Lam's decision to pursue a zero COVID strategy and keep the city cut off was hammering its long-term prospects as a business hub. But there's a little sign of change dito sa Hong Kong, no? China kasi maintains strict curbs on overseas arrivals and has given no timetable for opening its borders. Over the weekend, the Financial Times, citing a Chinese government source, said Beijing planned to keep its borders largely closed until after a major Communist Party gathering in November 2022. Oh my God. So, sarado pa ang borders ng China, ha? Well, okay? So, yan ang news dyan, okay? Na ang China, sarado pa ang borders. Wow, there's this controversy, okay? Do you know, alam niyo ba kung sino si Buzz Aldrin? Okay? Well, Buzz Aldrin, supposedly the first man on the moon, uh, with, oh, mali, sorry. Buzz Aldrin is an astronaut too, sorry. The first man on the moon was Neil Armstrong, right? But Buzz Aldrin exposed something, all right? Sinabi ni Buzz Aldrin, he revealed that the famous first man on the moon step ng Amerikano, yung famous moon landing photo daw, was altered. Ano yun, Photoshop? Wala pa namang Photoshop nung araw. Okay? Well, you might not have been born yet when the first man on the moon happened, okay? But I'm sure that you've heard of this event, syempre in school, no? Sa history. Those who were alive back then stayed in front of the TV, okay, as they watched Neil Armstrong. Si Neil Armstrong pala yung first man on the moon. Si Buzz Aldrin kasama rin siya dun sa flight na yon, okay? Make one giant leap for mankind. Okay? Nung sinabi niya, one step for, and a giant leap for mankind. Yun ang sinabi niya sa moon. It has received so much press coverage that you would think that you know all about it, right? However, Buzz Aldrin, one of the astronauts from Apollo 11 mission, recently talked about the iconic image that will associate with the moon landing. Okay? Okay. Ito, papakita ko na nga yung picture. Because itong pinag-uusapan natin, hindi ko na lagay kanina, okay? Yung famous picture ng the first step of a man on the moon, okay? Which is actually, saka yan si Buzz Aldrin. Papakita si Buzz Aldrin is revealing the truth about the famous landing on the moon photo. Okay, alam ko, you guys are so curious now to see the first man on the moon, who was Neil Armstrong. At ang kanyang colleague na si Buzz Aldrin ay kasama doon sa flight na yun. Okay? Hold on a second. Let me just grab it, please. All right. Okay, let's pick it up. So this is what I'm talking about now. Buzz Aldrin, part of the Apollo 11 crew of the first people on the moon from America, because nauna nga yung Russians, right? Well, he's saying that he's actually now revealing the truth about that famous picture, okay? That's Buzz Aldrin on the left, and that's the first man on the moon picture, okay? That famous picture, okay? This is what we're talking about, all right? Okay? Okay, so his revelations about the expedition revolved around a color shot that was taken during the mission. It was taken by Neil Armstrong, who snapped all the still photos on the surface of the moon. Okay, why? Well, he was the person with the high-performance Hasselblad camera at the time. Of course, this is not a sufficient explanation to folks who do not think that the Apollo 11 mission actually landed on the moon. There was controversy about it, right? They're saying it was fake. But they actually made it to the moon, right? These extraordinary images serve as the main proof that the team made it to the moon. For one thing, we all know that one of Buzz Aldrin by the American flag as it flew on the surface of the moon. Oh, yun, si Buzz Aldrin pala itong nasa picture na katabi ng American flag, okay? It's only natural for them to take photos of the event. You would do the same thing, di ba? Kung ikaw yung nandoon, hindi ka ba kukuha ng picture? Hello, di ba? Epic, monumental yun. First man on the moon. If you were the first people to make it to the moon, why not, right? Bakit hindi, right? But anyway, Buzz Aldrin is saying it was altered. It has gotten criticism, okay? This picture, nandito nasa harap, taas ko. Yan yung famous picture, nakatingin si Buzz Aldrin doon sa flag ng Amerika, right? Sinasabi niya, fake daw ito. Or, hindi fake, actually hindi fake, but altered. Okay, that's what he's saying. The visor image has actually received a lot of flack. In the photo, that's him. That's Buzz Aldrin facing the camera. You can see the reflection of Neil Armstrong in the helmet visor. Hindi ko makita. Oh, yeah. Aside from that, you can also see the lunar landing module called Eagle. When asked about that photo in particular, Aldrin revealed something that no one ever knew before. Okay? So pag tingnan nyo closely yung picture, may reflection ng kumukuha ng litrato sa kanya. Okay? Tapos ayun ang American flag. Alright? Ano kaya ang sinasabing hindi totoo dito? Well, Buzz Aldrin calls that event a well-staged situation. Stage means yung ginawa lang, okay? Scripted, kumbaga, kung sasabihin mo, ganun, no? Scripted, alright? Scripted daw. Or planado. This specific interview happened at the London Science Museum in 2016. Nung in-interviewed si Buzz Aldrin at dinivulge niya ito. The event has a wide-ranging question and answer portion. Among other things, they tackled photographs taken during the Apollo 11 mission. Aldrin fielded the questions easily until he slipped something that took us all by surprise. You see, the astronaut referred to an aspect of the mission as so well staged or scripted or okay, anong ibig sabihin? sorry, my throat is getting a little dry. A field day for conspiracy terrorists. Terrorists. It became a field day for conspiracy theorists. Hindi terrorists, okay? Pero sila yung na-terrorize, yung mga astronaut. We're sure that conspiracy theorists had a field day when they heard that. For the longest time, there have been people who believe that the moon landing is nothing but a hoax. Oo, talaga, noon araw sa Amerika, inisipan nila, hindi naman totoo naglanding yung mga Amerikano. Kasi di ba nauna yung Russia, nagpadala ng monkey. There have been people who believe that the moon landing is nothing but a hoax. This event was dubbed as a fulfillment of the promise that the president made in 1961. The president then was President John F. Kennedy, who told that Congress session that the country would reach the moon before the end of the decade. And true enough, it did. Yeah, we did. I mean, the humans did, or Americans did. Okay? It was a great example of American ambition, although others say that it was driven by revenge against the Soviets. This desire to improve the U.S. space program must be viewed in the context of time. The Cold War between USSR and the U.S. spread onto the battlefield too. Odin served as a fighter pilot during the Korean War. Aside from that, the space race was also another front it was fought on. Okay, kasi noon may long-standing feud ng USSR tsaka America, being the two world powers then. Okay? At last, we are revealing the truth about the famous landing photo, okay? Kasi they were vindictive because the Soviets were leading the way. Like I said, nauna sila eh. By the time the United States announced its plan to go to the moon, the USSR had already been leading the space exploration race. In 1957 pa lang, the Soviets had already launched Sputnik, which is the first orbiting satellite in history. See? Sputnik is the first ever orbiting satellite, and Russia ang nakauna nun. In 1961, it also sent, ayun pala, hindi yung monkey una, pero ang pinakaunang man on the moon actually is from Russia, si Yuri Gagarin. He was sent into space as the first man to ever he's the first man in space. The US needed to do some catching up, which is one of the reasons it set about to land on the moon. Okay. Now I'm clarified. Yuri Gagarin was the first man to ever go into space. Okay? But Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the first men to step on the moon from America, right? It happened just once. I have been wondering about it. I know. Well, actually, Angelica, truth be told, no, people can travel to the moon now. Didn't you know that? Itong si Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, innovator to, he charters flights or trips to the moon. Yun lang nga, 250,000 ang pamasahe, right? Yung mayayaman, pwede na pumunta sa moon. O sa outer space. Hindi sila magla-landing, pero pwede na magbiyahe. Pwede nang magpunta sa outer space ngayon, pero mahal ang bayad. Itong si Elon Musk, ginawa niya yun. Hi there, Jake! Hello, welcome! Dami-daming hearts. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome to the show, everyone. So yun, pwede na the rich people talaga walang magawa sa pera nila, yan si Elon Musk. Recently nga, diba, one other billionaire made a trip to charter nila yung isang sasakyan ni itong si Elon Musk and brought 3 civilians into space with a billionaire owner. I forget the name now, but I've already said this in my show. They were the very first civilians to go into orbit, okay? They spent like a few days orbiting in outer space. Tapos yung mga napili na civilians that went up there was a result of a fundraising competition. So yung mga nag-apply, sila yung napili. I think one is a scientist, one is I don't remember now, but 3 civilian people together with the billionaire that financed that trip went to orbit. Pero kasi, yun nga, sabi nila, di ba, in the past, may mga Amerikano na mga milyonaryo na sumakay din papuntang outer space. But anyway, so Angelica, yun, pwede na ngayon magpunta doon kung meron kang $200,000. Anyway, going back to the first, men on the moon, and this issue of fake news about, ano naman fake news, fake picture or altered picture, speeding things up, the presidential pledge resulted, because of the need of the President Kennedy then at the time na isurpass yung mga Russia. Sabi niya, ganun na, kayo, nagpunta kayo outer space, kami, magla-landing kami sa moon. And true enough, that's what they did. Okay, the presidential pledge resulted in the acceleration of the space program at NASA. In the 60s, the Gemini missions were launched. Aldrin was actually among the astronauts who were on Gemini 12, the last mission in that series of projects. Less than 2 years after that, the program finally perfected all the different maneuvers and operations that they needed for the moon landing project in the future, okay, which gave way to Apollo 11. Putting men on the moon, okay, it was time to plan how to put men on the moon, okay, if you want to see them. Ito ang ng Apollo 11, alright, ang mga astronaut ng Apollo 11. Pero sa mga hindi nakakaalam because mga baby pa kayo or hindi pa kayo buhay at all, you are just being conceptualized as ng magulang nyo or hindi pa nakikita ang magulang nyo. Hold on a sec. What did I do? There you go. These are the 3 astronauts. I forget the name of the other one. Dati memorize kong pangalan nitong mga Apollo 11 crew. Now, alam ko lang si Buzz Aldrin, nasasabi ko tuloy, Buzz Lightyear. Kasi yan, yung mga bago ang alam nila, Buzz Lightyear, hindi Buzz Aldrin. But anyway, so yeah, these were the astronauts who flew or went into space on the moon, went to the moon with Neil Armstrong at si Buzz Aldrin. I forget the other one's name. There they are, see? Okay. So these were the guys that actually landed on the moon, right? Yan sila, oh. Si Buzz Aldrin, sino kaya siya? I think siya yung sa gitna, eh. Mas kamukha niya in the old picture. It's a new picture. But yes, alright. These were the legendary Apollo 11 crew. Okay? So it was time to plan how to put the men on the moon, okay? Which is where the Apollo program came about. In January 1967, it all went wrong when the 3-man crew set to board the Apollo 1 died during the practice drill. Ay, Diyos ko, mali pala yung nalagay kong picture. Sorry. These 3 people were the ones who died. Oh my God, so sorry. They were the ones that died in that Apollo 1 drill. that the mechanisms went wrong. Oh my gosh, so sorry. All right, so let's remove that. Okay. Anyway, so yun ang sinasabi ni Boss Aldrin na yung picture doon na yun staged. Okay. Anyway, so binulgar niya ngayon in 2021. Samantala, masya-shatter yung mga ano ng tao. But anyway, it doesn't matter because really, obviously, pictures were taken nung mga panahon na yun, wala pang Photoshop. Siguro ang sinabi lang niya stage ay scripted yung pagtayo sa ano. Of course, may script naman yun dahil event yun eh. Hello, 'di ba? Yung pagtayo sa tabi ng flag, syempre naman. So, whatever it is, gusto lang niya siguro mag-create ng controversy. Hello, many years after itong si Buzz Aldrin talaga. Oh. But anyway, that's that news about the Apollo 11 thing, the picture being altered. See? Nagpa-interview pa talaga. Okay lang yan. Right? Ito ka na. Okay, so, let's talk about, women in IT. All right? Women and IT. Okay? Sabi nila that the IT world, the tech industry is still a boys' world, a man's world. I remember, of course, hindi niyo po na itatanong, I've been, I was, my column in the newspaper before for 9 years was in Tech News of the Manila Bulletin. Okay, so Tech News department. I was known as Techie Mommy in the internet in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I have traveled all over the world attending conventions in technology. All right. And there was a one forum, or I think this is the IFA, which is for the App Developers Conference in in Berlin that I attended. And App Developer Conference ito, pagdating ko doon, ako lang yung babae. Practically, really, ako lang yung babae na nag-attend nun, ng mga app developers. And kasi nga, yun, the premise that the IT world is dominated by men. Well, half of women in tech field, the industry is still a boys club, okay? But more than 60% are seeing signs of progress in spite of that. Yeah, because more and more, a lot of women are software engineers, okay? You know, marami na rin, dumadami naman na din ang mga babae sa industry, right? Sa tech industry, right? And this is what we're talking about now, okay? That the tech industry is a boys club pa rin, as reports say, okay? Oops, sorry. Pilit ko naman maglikot. All right. So, according to a new study from anitab.org, a nonprofit organization that works to advance women in computing and holds the Grace Hopper celebration, women in tech in technology are still feeling the effects of being a minority in their field. Totoo naman, I felt that talaga. Even in America, when I was working there, in the workplace, I worked for a Fortune 500 software company before. There was kind of some sort of discrimination pa rin, with women in the workforce, especially in the IT industry also. Although tech companies have made some moves in the past several years to create a more diversified and inclusive industry, women are still facing plenty of challenges, particularly in this pandemic. Okay? There are women who were worried that their bosses would start to think, oh, I saw a little girl on your lap. I heard you say that your school's closed. I know you've got 3 kids. In their minds, they're thinking, I've got to prove that this is not going to harm my output. Diba? Na may mga nakakandong na baby kasi nag-post ka sa Facebook or Instagram na nagtatrabaho ka sa bahay pero yung mga anak mo kasama, yun, worried sila sa sasabihin ng boss, okay? 53% felt they needed to prove their worth to their employers, especially the ones working from home, particularly during the upheaval of the COVID-19, including advocating more for themselves. Kasi nga, nag-work from home, yun ang nangyari. Sa bahay ka, you also, especially sa Philippines na naka-lockdown yung schools, you have no choice but to deal with your children also who are studying and working from home like you. The survey data, which was collected online from nearly 1,000 women in the industry, falls in line with other findings. In September last year, McKinsey and Company's annual Women in the Workplace study found that the pandemic has put a strain on women's careers, with 1 in 3 considering either leaving the workforce or downshifting their careers partly because of increased family responsibilities. Yun na nga, understandable yun eh. Kasi kung working mommy ka, tapos napa-work from home ka, hala, triple, quadruple yung trabaho mo, right? Kasi nandun ka na, nagtatrabaho ka na, tapos syempre, because nandiyan din yung mga anak mo sa bahay or yung asawa mo rin from working from home. So it's a 24/7 kind of job for you guys. I mean, for us, I know how it feels because, you know, although of course my job wasn't threatened because my job is my own. The work that I do depends on me how much work I can handle. I'm a freelancer, I'm a consultant, I have my own creative marketing business. So I decide how much my bulk of work is. But at the same time, yung hindi ko ang never-ending task is to take care of my mga kasama sa bahay, which is my son and my fiancé. So, dumoble talaga yung responsibilities ng working mommy, right? Na dating work on outfield na mommies na naging work from home. Meanwhile, in the last year and a half, numerous articles have chronicled job loss, burnout, and the added strain of family care among working women. Yun ang sinabi ko. In the tech industry, a lack of workforce diversity has been a long-standing issue. Talaga naman, in big companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, right? And others struggle to create technical workforces made up of even 30% women. Because it's not even 30% yung mga babae nagtatrabaho sa mga big companies na yan. The AnitaB.org survey, the data found a blend of skepticism and optimism about the industry's efforts. About 26% said they felt the industry's attempts toward inclusiveness were very or extremely sincere. Okay? What we also see is that women are very aware of the issues, of what they want, and what they believe is important for them to participate meaningfully in the industry. Okay? Nearly 2/3 ng mga sumagot ng survey na ito said they felt their companies were doing a good job of including more than just gender and race in their definitions of diversity. 3/4 said their companies had a solid grasp on intersectionality, okay? The idea, ano bang intersectionality, okay? It is the idea that a person can fall under several umbrellas and have specific experiences attached to being, for example, both a woman and a person of color, okay? So yung parang you belong to multi categories. Yun na nga, woman ka na nga, naging category yung pagiging babae sa pagtatrabaho. Hindi naman dapat ganun, di ba? Gender equality. So yun tuloy naging category yung babae ka, tapos person of color ka or Asian ka sa Amerika or whatever. Hello there, Cynthia! Welcome, Cynthia Buste. Welcome. Okay? On the topic naman of women of color, okay? Anuhin natin tong topic na to. There was no clear consensus kung yung mga companies are doing enough to meet their needs. Respondents were divided in thirds along the lines of yes, no, and unsure. Kung okay ba na mag-hire ng mga babae na women of color sa workplace, sa IT industry, sa technology? Yes, no, and unsure ang mga sagot. Looking toward the future, 25% of women said diversity and inclusion will improve significantly in the next 5 years. In the next 5 years pa, Diyos mio. Retired na ako noon. 44% said it will improve somewhat, and 15% said it will stay the same. So, mas maraming percentage ang hopeful na magbabago yun. I think so too. Women still feel like it's a boys' world or a boys' club, itong technology. Unfortunately, until we hit gender parity or equality, it's going to be still a man's world, ang technology. Ha! Kala nyo, right? But anyway, but more and more nga, women software engineers are coming about, right? App developers, right? Tingnan lang natin, right? Okay. Okay, another thing to talk about, all right, is TikTok again, all right? Ito naman. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see what's up with TikTok, okay? Ta-da! All right. TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat say child safety is a top priority. Lawmakers aren't buying it. Yan, di ba, in connection yan sa lahat sa yung pag-whistleblow nitong si Francis Hogan na sinasabi niya ang Facebook is not safe at yung mga kanyang affiliate na companies like Instagram ay hindi safe for the children, lalong-lalo na daw sa mental health ng mga young women. That's why itong nakapicture dito sa TikTok are young women because they're the ones affected, okay, by mga beauty posts na they have to feel that it's a must for them to be skinny, it's a must for them to be beautiful, to be able to fend in this world. Yan yung mga message na sinasabi nilang detrimental sa mental health ng mga young women na to. Kasi yan yung mga laging mga post sa Instagram, kagandahan effect, mga kaseksihan effect. So nadidepress yung mga hindi ganon, right? Well, TikTok, YouTube, and Snap showed up to a congressional hearing armed with talking points about the importance of child safety. Buti naman, the initiatives they're putting up in place to better engage parents and their sophisticated artificial intelligence systems employed to combat harmful content. O, di ba? Hindi na kaya ng tao, nag-hire na ng AI or robotics para ma-censor itong mga content. Kasi nga, sa Facebook na lang, di ba? Iba nag-hire ng 18,000 employees sa Europe. Basta, because hindi naman talaga, dahil billion-billion yung mga subscribers or mga members ng Facebook. Paano mo monitor lahat yung posts if you don't add more people, right? US lawmakers aren't buying what TikTok, YouTube, and Snap said, that they are trying to get more safety measures to assure the parents that their platforms are safe. Yun na nga, sa US, sila yung umaayaw dito eh. US lawmakers are not buying this story. I just want folks watching to know that we're not taking at face value what you told us. This was said by Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Connecticut Democrat who told the companies at the end of the nearly 4-hour hearing on Tuesday that he doesn't want to believe it. I just want folks watching to know that we're not taking at face value, okay, what they said to us. Wow, strong words, okay? The Senate subcommittee hearing titled Protecting Kids Online Snapchat, ang title ng hearing was Protecting Kids Online, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube comes amid heightened security of social media giant Facebook, which is the subject of a series of articles based on the leaked documents that Francis Hogan leaked out. The documents that suggest the company knows about the harm its platforms cause to the mental health of teenagers, but still, they carried on just for profit. Ayun ang kanyang claim. It causes as well as to democracy and developing countries then, because Francis Hogan said that the company knows about the harm that Facebook does to cause the mental health of teenagers, as well as to democracy and in developing countries. Francis Hogan, the former Facebook product manager, who is the whistleblower, collected the cache of international research and communications on which those articles are based. She testified before the Senate subcommittee, saying that that there's truth to what she's claiming. The company prioritized profits over safety. This is what she says over and over again, which a lot of people affirmed or confirmed. She also testified before the British Parliament on Monday. Blumenthal echoed that sentiment as she lambasted the three companies on Tuesday, bringing up content related to bullying and self-harm. Totoo naman. Yung mga kabataan ngayon, no, lahat nabubuli pag hindi ka maganda masyado, or if you're fat, or whatever. It's kawawa, really, because in America, you can sue people for harassing you this way. Okay? Okay, more eyeballs means more dollars. Everything that you do is to add users, especially kids, and keep them on your apps for longer, Blumenthal said. Blumenthal also said he's heard from the parents about the rabbit hole teenagers go down when they log onto TikTok, YouTube, and Snapchat. His office, which created accounts on TikTok and YouTube as part of its own research, also found that content on extreme dieting and eating disorders is easy to find on these platforms. So, yun nga ang nakakabahala. Because of yung mga post ng diet, yung mga post ng mga nag-workout, di ba? Ang dami-dami ngayon sa pandemya, naka-livestream ang kanilang pag-workout kasi hodang makitaan ng see it or whatever, but they're exercising online, right? They're and then showing fitness, and then this pressures the young girls who are not fit, who are not beautiful, feeling nila because yung mga pinapakita dyan sa social media, sexy, beautiful women, men and women, right? Achieving this kind of physique in this pandemic. Like I said, more eyeballs mean more dollars. Everything that you do is to add users, especially kids, and keep them on your apps for longer. Okay? Like big tobacco, big tech has lured teens despite knowing its products can be harmful. Okay? Yan. Yung pagsisigarilyo, hindi yan dapat pinopromote. Okay? Okay, so Blumenthal said that he's heard from parents about the rabbit hole teenagers go down when they log onto TikTok, and YouTube and Snapchat. His office, which created accounts on TikTok and YouTube as part of its own research, also found that content on extreme dieting and eating disorders is easy to find on these platforms. Okay, like big tobacco, big tech has lured teens despite knowing its products can be harmful. Not good. Okay. The hearing also marks the first snap. What is the first snap? The parent company of Snapchat, okay, and TikTok have testified. Snap is being represented by Jennifer Stout, the Vice President of Global Public Policy. TikTok by Michael Beckerman, Vice President and Head of Public Policy. In the Americas, and YouTube is by Leslie Miller, Vice President of Government Affairs and Public Policy. Google, a subsidiary of Alphabet, owns YouTube. Okay. So Google owns YouTube. All right. Okay, so there you go. So look at the picture, right? There are the TikTokers right above me. Okay. All right. With that said, okay, the hearing, okay, is about that, right? Because they're saying that also, aside from the mental health issues, okay, there are familiar problems. Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube try to distinguish themselves from Facebook during the hearing, highlighting differences in how their products work. That wasn't enough to appease lawmakers who brought up problems they found on these platforms. Hala, okay? Stout said Snapchat was built as an antidote to social media. Unlike Facebook, Snapchat doesn't have a newsfeed or a like button. The disappearing message app is being used by people to communicate privately with their friends. Okay? We have a moral responsibility to take into account the best interest of our users in everything we do. And we understand that there is more work to be done, she said. Okay? So that is my issue regarding, all right, regarding TikTok, all right, and Snapchat and YouTube, right? So we just have to, all these platforms, you have to make sure that your platform is child safety, has child safety, okay? Because otherwise, you're going to be looked at next. Because right now, Facebook is under fire, okay? So child safety is a top priority, all right? Okay. So, on that note, let's talk about some news in the Philippines. All right. PNP advises courier firms to be careful in hiring delivery personnel. Mag-ingat daw ang mga kumpanya at mga resellers kung sino yung hinahire nilang courier. Okay? Be careful in hiring your delivery personnel. Ito ang headline kahapon sa Manila Bulletin. Okay? The Philippine National Police, or the PNP, advised on Tuesday, October 26, which is kahapon lang, courier service firms to observe extra caution in hiring delivery riders. Okay? Ang dami nagnanakaw ngayon because lalo na maraming gumagawa ng masama, nalalapit na naman ang Pasko, and this is like a vicious cycle here when it's nearing Pasko. May meron ka agad chaos all around. Madalian na yan pagpunta ng Divisoria. So, ngayon pa lang, dapat nakapag-shopping na kayo ng half of your shopping list. Because that's what I do throughout the year when I find sales and promotions. I go shopping na so that I can stock it up or stack it up for my relatives during Christmas time. Okay? So, sabi ng Philippine National Police that courier service firms should observe extra caution in hiring delivery riders. Following the arrest of a delivery rider who yielded, wala niyo kung magkano, 3.4 million worth of shabu in Quezon City. PNP Chief General Guillermo Lorenzo Elizar said, okay, kamag-anak mo ba to, Jay? Si Chief General Guillermo Lorenzo Elizar. Same last name as you, which is very, very, not weird, but very rare. Okay, so let me know, Jake, kung kamag-anak mo itong si PNP Police Chief, okay? He advised Tuesday, October 26, that mag-ingat daw or mag-quit daw kayo tungkol sa mga courier firms, okay, or delivery company, okay? Sinabi ni Chief General Guillermo Elizar, he said courier service firms must scrutinize their applications thoroughly since their company would end up in a bad light and be dragged into the distribution of illegal drugs. Okay, we are reminding the delivery and courier service companies to scrutinize the applicants in their companies in order to ensure that their companies will not be exploited by legal activities. Okay. Reports reaching Elizar's office indicate that the suspect, the rider who was apprehended or was captured, was Arturo de la Cruz Jr. Okay, a delivery rider of Navotas City, was arrested during the operation conducted last Saturday in front of a fast food chain along Loreto Street while he was eating. Okay, which reminds me, I'm hungry. Eating. Hello there, Cynthia, Angela, Jake, and my Lacap family and my Bautista family. A shout out to my brothers in Australia and America. Okay? Alright. Ano muna tayo, okay? Those who wish to suggest guest resource people on my show, please feel free to message me on Messenger or my Facebook or email me. If you feel that you have a resource person who wants to talk about technology topics here in my show, please feel free to submit nyo lang mga pangalan with a little bio. Okay? Okay. So now, we reached the end of our lesson. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we go to another part of our story. Okay. What are these opening windows? Oh my goodness. Okay, so now we already finished about Hong Kong having more strict protocols, right? first. Okay, we already talked about that. Now, and also the TikTok. Now, because it's nearing Christmas and all that, people are looking into whatever presents they would give their loved ones. But for me, as long as my cell phones are working, I can keep in touch with my family. It's all good. Okay. All right. So now I'm here to start a new topic. Okay. The new topic is about PNP advises courier firms to be careful in hiring delivery personnel. Right. It's just what we did. Okay. So on that note, we are reminding the delivery and courier service companies to first please scrutinize the applicants in their companies in order to ensure that their companies will not be exploited in illegal uh, right, in illegal activities. Okay. So yan ang ating please be careful. Alright. Doon sa mga kumpanya na nagre-resell at nag-online business, don't just hire somebody to drive okay, but kailangan yung mga, ayan nga, di ba, yung mga Grab, Uber drivers, wala ba yung psychological test bago i-hire? Pero yan, kung doon sa mga mag-hire kayo ng regular, regular rider or regular transportation, no? Or yung mga Grab, Uber, please, investigate nyo muna or check nyo muna yung profile or attitude nitong mag-a-apply, okay? Because kagaya nga niyan, nakuha na ng shabu. Oh my gosh. Alright? Kasi authorities were able to confiscate 500 grams of suspected shabu worth 3.4 million from the suspect, as well as 1,000 used as a buy bus money and some boodle money. Okay? Authorities were able to confiscate 500 grams of unsuspected shabu worth 3.4 million from the suspect, as well as $1,000 used as excuse me, as buy bus money or some boodle money. Hindi nga dapat pasensya na, so sorry. My throat is so itchy. No, it's not COVID, okay? So there ends that news about PNP advising firms to be careful about delivery personnel. Okay? All right. Good job. So hopping on from that, okay, let's look at itong mga latest technology. Electric cars are powering buildings from parking lots. All right? Listen up kung bakit, kung paano. Okay? Electric cars are powering buildings from parking lots. Tingnan natin. Okay? Okay? On the roads of the future, pollution could become a thing of the past. Sabi nila talaga, yung carbon emission mababawasan. Globally, electric vehicle uptake has surged as drivers seek to reduce CO2 emissions from cars, trucks, and buses. But let's not ignore the demands for these EVs. It's starting to overload existing power grids as more drivers join the hunt for charging points. Offshore wind power could be the solution to this growing demand of power to X technologies. That is why most of the time when I was in, my laptop bounces down all the time, and sometimes I think I blame myself. Yun pala, it's all technical, right? Okay, so the power to X technology can use electric vehicles as temporary mobile storage units for surplus energy generated, okay, from renewable like wind farms. So, pwede raw gamitin yung mga wind farms. Alam niyo yung wind farms kagaya na nasa Ilocos? Yung parang, hindi naman siya windmill, yung mukhang mga dragonfly na white. No. Yun. Yun daw pwedeng di ba, in place of mga gaseous things like carbon monoxide emission. Mabuti na yun. This is clean energy. Okay? You can use electric vehicles as temporary mobile storage units for surplus energy generated from the renewable efforts like the wind farms. This clean energy can be returned to the electricity grid and used to power homes and businesses. Okay, there's a video, hindi ko mapakita. This video looks at the changes in power demand related to a mass switch to EVs, showing how the energy industry is creating innovative solutions to the challenges ahead. So yun, di ba? Yung mga electric cars na ang dapat kumalat sa daan para wag na tayong mag-carbon emission at malason-lason pa. Di ba? Okay. All right. So what's new? Okay, the DOH of course already approved the booster shots this year for health workers. Booster shot na to, health workers, seniors, and PWD. Pero, tama. The DOH has approved booster shots this year for healthcare workers and seniors. At saka sa mga may comorbidities pa kaya, or PWD, pwede. Department of Health DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III has approved the recommendation of the Health Technology Assessment Council on the provision of coronavirus disease vaccine booster shots. Okay? The HTAC recommended the booster vaccination of health workers and senior citizens in the fourth quarter of 2021. And among eligible priority groups, such as frontline essential workers and persons with comorbidities in 2022. Okay? Na-stress dito that this will be done once there is a sufficient supply of vaccines, diba? Nagkukulang pa rin sila dito. And the acceptable vaccination coverage has already been achieved, especially the 70% of the target population in the hotspot regions, including NCR, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, Calabarzon, and Central Luzon. Okay? Outside of the hotspots that I mentioned, the boosters, okay, will be given by 2022 to other eligible priority groups, provided that more than 50% ng kanilang target population ay nabakunahan na, right? Okay? Itong sinabi ni Mary Jean Loreche nung Monday, okay? So outside of the hotspots, which is NCR region, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, Calabarzon, and Central Luzon, outside of these hotspot areas, the boosters will be given by 2022 to other eligible priority groups, provided that more than 50% of the target population for vaccination, okay, has been fully vaccinated. Di ba? Yung fully vaccinated na yung mga tao. Well, so, itong implementation itong booster includes ensuring maximum coverage for the primary series as the premature rollout of booster vaccination without attaining acceptable coverage, diba? Kasi hindi pa na-achieve yung 70% na gustong i-achieve ng fully vaccinated na ng mga vaccine eh. Okay? But anyway, on this note, okay, time flies when we're having fun. All right? Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. Sorry at nag-overtime naman ako. Tomorrow we will talk about more technology breakthroughs and gadgets to review. May nagsabi, okay, we will do that again next week. Thank you so much. Have a good lunch, everybody. Pasensya na po, nag-overtime. Faith, hope, and love. Faith, hope, and love. Huwag mawawala sa ating puso. Thank you very much for joining me, friends.
Inyong natunghayan at napakinggan ang mga makabagong pamamaraan sa mundo ng online sa pamamagitan pa rin ng Broad Streamcast Communicators. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat po.